to get started, if you guys haven't seen my face on here before, I'm Tristana Bickford. I'm the department's communications director. I am based out of our Santa Fe office. And Jeremy, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Jeremy Lane. I'm coming to you from Las Cruces this evening. I am a public information specialist with the Department of Game and Fish for the Southwest region in Las Cruces.
Great. And just so everybody kind of has a little bit of background, yesterday morning, we put the 2021-2022 Big Game Hunting Regulations and Information Booklet. Internally, we call it the RIB on the website. It is at the printer right now. We're hoping to have that out on shelves towards the end of the month by the time it gets printed and shipped out to everybody. But we wanted to spend a little bit of time and kind of walk through the RIB. And so far, the best question that I've seen over and over again is, when will the draw open? And just to address that one straight away, we are expecting the draw to open tomorrow morning, Wednesday at 10 a.m. So when it opens tomorrow, it'll give you over 60 days to apply for the draw. So there's no reason to be late on this one. But Jeremy, I'll let you kick it off, and I know you have a picture of the RIB up there on your screen to share with everybody.
Yeah, so this is what you're looking for. It's already available from our website. I'm sure we'll put a link directly to it in the chat or in the description for the video. However you're finding this, you'll be able to find this. That's step one. Step one is to make sure you've got the right one. Don't get confused by last year's. Make sure you're looking for this one with this big block on it. And it's 2122. This is going to be your workhorse. This is going to be everything you need to know and then some about how to navigate this draw system. And we're going to talk about more about that tonight. But this is super important for you to have. It's available online. So I guess, do you have any questions that we need to hit yet, or not really?
So we do have one question in the chat. We do have everybody that has joined us on Zoom muted, but we do have the chat box up and going. So feel free to type out questions for there or into the Q&A box. And for those of you that are with us on Facebook, we are doing our best to monitor those comments as well. So feel free to type away, and we will do our best to keep an eye on all of the questions as we go.
Yeah, let us know what questions you have about using this RIB. This is a multi-part series, so if you're more interested in the draw, I'm going to do a presentation about that. If you're more interested in what the online application process looks like after you've gotten all the information you need out of this booklet, we're going to have a presentation on that as well. But tonight we're talking about navigating this bad boy. So I guess the most common question is, let's start from someone who's brand new to the system, brand new to the system. This is our Big Game Hunting Rules and Information booklet. That's where that acronym RIB comes from. You might also hear it be called more an older term called a proclamation, because it's any changes to rules and laws and hunt seasons. It's proclaiming. A couple of different terminology there that you might hear about this little booklet. But where we need to start is what would you like to hunt? What species would you like to hunt? Is that going to be deer or elk? What species of deer? We have more than one in the state. Turkey, bear. That's all your big game species are going to be in here. So let's start there. Okay. For each species that you choose to apply to hunt for, you're going to submit an application. One for each species. And for these big game species, like we'll go through some elk examples, you're going to have up to 3 choices on that application. 3 ways to kind of get what you want if you're successful. You can have as little as 1. I know some people whose property might be adjacent to Forest Service land, and they only want to go on this one hunt, which is within walking distance of their property, and they don't want 200 choices, but you have a maximum of 3. So let's dive right in. Let's say we want to go elk hunting at It's super popular in the state for good reason. So I'm going to scroll down to our elk section. And that is right here. Okay. Now let's say that I am familiar with unit 21B as in level. If you didn't know, our state is divided into different hunting units. And those units can be found within this booklet. On the centerfold, hopefully you can see it tonight. If not, I can bring it up on this screen share. Let me show you that. So it's the centerfold in this booklet, or it's on page 62 and 63. So it's going to be half on the left, half on the right. So if you know that, for instance, you want to go kind of in the hatch area, maybe you're talking about 21B, which is what we're going to be talking about tonight. So let me get back there. So what you'll see here, if you'll follow my cursor, is that it's broken down by units. And these are those hunt units that I just mentioned. So let's say we're familiar or we want to try our hand at 21B. So I find 21B in the elk section. And let's say I want to go rifle hunting. You're going to see rifle hunting referred to in this booklet as any legal over here on the far left column. Okay? And what any legal means is that it's any legal weapon. So you can use rifle, or you can use within that season what we refer to as long weapons, muzzle loader, or archery. Okay. So let's say I want to go rifle hunting for elk, unit 21B. So with a rifle, the first hunt I can go to is October 9th and 13th, right there where my cursor is. Okay. And then if I look to the far right over here, you'll see a couple of letters, or in some cases just one. For this particular hunt on October 9th and 13th, you're going to see MB, and that means mature bull. Okay, so this hunt's bag limit is one mature bull. ES, above it there a little bit, is going to be either sex of elk you can hunt, and A is going to be antlerless. So for our hunt, if I can go on the first rifle hunt I can go on is that October 9th and 13th hunt, and there's a code right next to it. It's ELK-1-290. So let's remember that. We'll use that. This column here, it's labeled fee type, and there are some letter abbreviations there too. The S is for standard, and the H is for high demand. High demand means a lot of people want to go there. And then also you'll see just to the right of it, how many licenses are going to be given out for that particular hunt code. So that's just our first hunt code. So remember, we get up to 30 for our elk application. So let's say we want to stay in 21B for our second choice, and we want to stick with rifle. So maybe I can't go on any of these hunts after October 9th. Maybe I can't go until this one here where my cursor is, November 20th through the 24th. If you look to the left there, it says that this hunt is open to New Mexico residents only, and we define that in the application of what we define that. And then you'll see a hunt code for it too. Now look to the right of it, a couple of things change for us. The fee type, instead of being high demand, is now standard. And instead of it being a mature bull bag limit, now it's 8, which remember is 8 months. So let's say that's my second choice. I put that down for my, jot that down on a piece of paper, and we'll talk about how to get that submitted into the system in a couple of different ways shortly. Remember, I get up to 3 choices for my species application for elk. So now let's try a different unit. Let's go up here to 21A. And let's say I want to change from rifle to an archery hunt as well. So the first archery hunt I can go on is this top one here. It's September 1st to the 14th. There you see the code ELK-2-281. It's a high demand hunt. There's going to be 50 tags issued, and it is an either sex bag limit. So what I want you to see in that, we just made 3 elk selections, is that on your application, and this is a common question, you can change weapon type. If you started with rifle for your first choice, all your choices don't have to be rifle. And just because I started in 21B doesn't mean I have to stay in 21B, or even anywhere adjacent. I could go 16D. So you can change hunt area and weapon type within an application. It's super important to know. So now I have those 3 hunt codes written down, and I have them here next to you. If you don't remember, if you've not been taking notes with me. So now let's talk price. So I'm going to scroll up a little bit until the elk section begins. Talk about price. Okay, so we mixed some license types, and we mixed some bag types. Remember, one of our bag limits was mature bull, one was either sex, and one hunt was high demand, and one was standard. So you might be asking yourself, well, based on this price guide right here that I'm circling with my cursor, the price changes depending on those. So how do I know how much I owe? You're going to pay for the highest one that's in your 3 choices. So in our case, we had a mature bull high demand hunt. So we're going to be paying that for resident $99. Oh, I'm sorry, that's for unit wide ranges. I'm sorry. We're going to be paying $90. Towards the front of the book and show you that. To our themes. Right here. Okay. High demand elk, remember that, and then mature bull, where the cursor is there, $90. Now, in addition to that $90, we have some other things that we do. You're going to be required to buy a hunting license or a hunting fishing combo license. So as a resident, if I go just the hunting license route, that's $15 in addition to the $90. And then you're going to need a habitat stamp right here. And that is for accessing Forest Service land or Bureau of Land Management. And those stamp fees go towards habitat improvement. So it's super important for us to buy into. So that's another $5. Then there is a stamp from us for kind of the same purposes for habitat improvement events. It's called the Habitat Management Access Validation Stamp, and that one here is $4. And then you'll see right here there's a $1 fee. So we have $90 for the high demand mature bull elk choice among our 3, which was the highest of the 15 for the game hunting license, 5 for the habitat stamp, $4 for the HMAV stamp or habitat management access validation, and a $1 benefit fee. So all in, I'm looking at $115 to apply to go hunt for that species. Does that make sense?
Jeremy, before you leave that screen, I do want to mention to everybody that if you get your game hunting license, you don't have to get a new license for every species that you put in for. So that hunting license will be good across the board, whether it's applying for more species or maybe for small game hunting in the fall.
Good for the license year, and it's required. And you're going to keep that license whether you're successful in the draw or not. So like Tristan said, if you're going to go small game hunting later in the year, you're good to go. You have your license.
And we have a couple of questions coming in before you jump off of this. One question about the habitat stamp, and it will be $5 while you're putting in for the draw. And then it could go up to $10. But when you put in for the draw, it will be just $5. And then, Jeremy, another question that we got, are these fees for each of the choices in the application 1, 2, 3, and 4, or do you only have to pay those fees once?
I'm not sure if I understand. What was the 1, 2, 3, and 4 again?
So I believe it's for your choices. So you have your first 3 choices, and so you would only pay that L tag fee one time. You would pay the most expensive, correct?
Yeah, I'm paying, in that example that I gave, I'm paying $115 for those 3 choices total. The way we calculate what you're going to pay for that elk license charge, application charge, is the highest priced one that you apply for. So in our case, that was high demand mature. If you apply for, let's look here, if you apply for an elk license and it's on the family list, you can see your price goes down for resident, $30. But remember, if you have, like, say, 2 antlerless hunts and 1 mature bull hunt, you're going to be charged for the highest price on that list for the group.
And you will get that money refunded if you pay for the higher price one and end up drawing an antlerless tag. You will get that difference refunded, right?
Correct. You're going to keep your hunting license. That stays with you, and you're going to get that money back minus. I always forget if it's $7 or $8. Is it $7 processing fee?
I believe so.
There's a $7 processing fee that you don't get returned. But yes, all the rest of that is returned to you.
Yep, and at the top of the page there it says $7 processing fee for residents and $13 for non-residents.
Hey, I got one right.
You did.
Mine's already win, folks. So yeah, that's a pretty fast breakdown, but there's a lot of good stuff in there. A common question is can I mix weapon types on my application? Absolutely. Even taking that one step further, let's say you only archery hunt, but you're interested in applying for the rifle hunt, and you want to use archery because it's a lesser weapon in that hunt. You're free to do that. That's an option for you too. And then you can change. Sometimes people mistakenly think that they have to stay in the same unit once they pick one hunt code within that unit as their choice. No, you can bounce around all over the state. Wherever you're trying to travel, you can put that down as your option. There is a veterans discount on these license fees that we're talking about. That's talked about in this book as well. You'll need to provide us proof, and we can do that via email. There's also senior discounts. If you look here, where my cursor is, there's senior or handicap bow hunting license. Let's see. That one doesn't seem to be any money for the hunting license itself. Not the hunting license itself. Any other questions just yet?
Yes. So you mentioned that if you draw a rifle hunt, that you can use a lesser weapon, and so that applies to muzzleloader or archery equipment. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes. So in our kind of hierarchy of our hunt codes, it goes any legal weapon, which for most people means rifle. Then it goes archery. We'll have a 2. We'll say ELK-2. That means it's always an archery code. And then next is muzzleloader, which will have we'll say ELK. In case of elk codes, ELK-3. So during a rifle hunt, you could use black powder. That's up to you. You can always use a lesser weapon in those hunts.
Jeremy, what if you have mobility issues? Is there, and can't physically go out with a rifle, or if you draw an archery tag, are there options if you have mobility issues?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a certificate called Mobility Impaired permit, and yeah, that's for folks who are you have a mobility challenge in some way, be it permanent or temporary. If you go through it, you can still apply for mobility. You need to jump on that now because there's a form that you have to submit to us, and you fill out half of it, and the doctor fills out a small portion at the bottom of it and signs it, and then you send it into us. So you're going to have to get your physician's signature. So you submit that form to us, signed by your doctor, signed by you. It goes through our approval process, and then you're certified for a certain length of time. And I forget how much that is. But again, you need to jump on that quickly because that whole process takes time. The mail takes time. And you can find that form. I don't know if Christina already has it pulled up, but if you just go to our website and look for the search feature and type in mobility impaired, you'll find it.
I don't have it pulled up, but it is easy to find in the search function.
Yeah.
And on that same line, if you are interested in applying for the military hunts, that's paperwork that you need to get in early as well. And we recommend getting that paperwork in at least a week before the draw deadline. Again, the draw deadline is on March 17th for the big game species, and I believe February 10th for bear and turkey. But you want to get that paperwork in so that we have time to update your file so that the file is showing that you're eligible for those military hunts or the mobility impaired hunts. And Jeremy, one of the questions we just got on Facebook, bouncing back to a previous topic, we were talking about lesser weapon types. And does it go the other way? If you get an archery hunt, can you use a muzzleloader?
I think some muzzleloader hunts and some archery hunts stipulate that it's only those weapons. But I think for the most part, yes, the majority of those hunt codes, yes, you can use muzzleloader during the archery hunt.
And maybe I asked that differently, but I believe that if you have an archery tag, it's archery only. But if you have a muzzleloader tag, you can use muzzleloader and archery equipment. Should you choose?
Yeah.
And then if you get a rifle, you can use rifle, muzzleloader, or archery.
There you go.
Sorry, I didn't ask that question very well.
Let's see. Yeah, veteran discount saves you 50% on stuff that licenses, permits, and stamps that we would be charging you. It doesn't affect the federal ones for the Forest Service and that stamp, but for licenses, permits, and stamps that we would charge you, you get 50% off on that. So get that form submitted as fast as you can.
Awesome. And so I know that we talked about 3 different options for the elk hunt. But I know when you go in and apply, you can put in the 3 different choices that you have straight out of the regulation booklet, and then you can choose to put in for a 4th choice or a 5th choice. But those are a little bit different than just the hunt codes that are listed out. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. If the species has a 4th choice and a 5th choice, there won't be for hunt code entry. So your 4th choice, if I'm remembering the order correctly, is management hunts. I think it's either 4th or 5th, but let's say it's 4th. One of those is going to be your management hunts. That's if population management hunts. That's if population is too large, is causing trouble for say an orchard somewhere. We might issue licenses for a management hunt to thin back those numbers. And for that, you don't get to really stipulate exactly where you're going. You can only ask that it be in a region, a quadrant of the state, southwest, southeast, northeast, northwest. Those four choices. And then they'll call you, they'll call your list, and they'll go down the list and say, like, hey, can you come to such and such town on such and such date and help us pin back our help numbers, for instance. Your fifth choice is what we call leftover hunts. So in some hunt codes, we won't get enough serviceable applications to meet the tag issue number, our quota for licenses that we're going to issue. When that happens, if that happens, if you signed up for a leftover hunt, the same thing happens. You'll be assigned a hunt, and I think Tristan, don't you also get to stipulate what alternate state that's in?
I don't believe you do for the fifth choice. I believe that is a yes or a no.
Yeah, it could be anywhere.
Fine, I'm having to repicture it all in my head.
Yes. It could be anywhere, anytime. So keep that in mind if you see a fifth choice and you want to apply for those leftover hunts, that it could be anywhere, anytime. And you'll get issued that. You don't get to the management hunts, they're going to call you and you say, no thanks, I'll pass. For the leftover tags, you don't get a say. You will get issued. So keep that in mind. If you really want to go hunting and you don't much matter where, you just want to be outside, that's a choice for you.
And sometimes those are really good opportunities if you just want the opportunity to go hunting. So that's a great point. Jeremy, another question I get quite a bit is, how do I know where I want to go hunting? Say I live in Las Cruces, like you do, and I want to go somewhere in the local area. How would I figure out where I want to go, or what might be my best options?
Yeah, okay. So let me bring up the map here, page 62 and 63. Again, it's separated in half. I'm looking at it sideways here. But there you go. There's the southwest. There's Cruces right there with a little paint icon. Look, actually, you can draw on the screen. Yeah, that I think. Right there. So then within that, it can show you it'll show you the boundaries for your hunt area, what units will be around there. This big pink swath, for those not familiar with the region, would be the center of this. Yeah, so that's a way to get the hunt code. Those are in these white circles. And if you're still not sure, give us a call. That's what we're here for. Call our toll-free number. We're probably going to be mentioning it multiple times this evening, but that's also listed. So let's see. There we go. It's 1-888-248-6866. Make sure you leave a message if you don't get through to someone who are going to be beginning to be very busy this time of year. You can also call an area office. Let me go back to the front of the book and show you those. Right here on page 1, regional offices. Now, even though our offices are currently closed to customer traffic and personnel traffic by and large, we can still get these calls from these numbers. We have forwarded to our department cell phones. So if you're in Las Cruces, there's the number right there, 575-552-2100. You can leave a message. If you're not sure, that's a pretty common question. And sometimes people will know exactly where they want to go hunt, but the detail on this map in the grid is not very detailed. It can't be. It's a small book. So well, I can't tell if it's on one side of the boundary or not. If it's this hunt unit or this hunt unit, we can help you out. Let's go.
And I'll add to that. our information center is working remotely, as you and I are, Jeremy. But we also, if there's do expect extended wait times if you are going to be calling the 1-800 number. You can email us at ispa@state.nm.us. Or we are on several social media channels and we monitor those several times a day on business days. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. And so we will monitor those and do our best to help you through those platforms as well, knowing that our phone center is going to be very busy for the next couple of months.
Yeah, that brings us to, probably another topic is maybe you've got down pat now how to apply and you're ready to apply. You've jotted down your 3 codes. What's the next step? So the next step is going to be to go to our website. If that technology is going to work for you, that's going to be the fastest way, is to self-service through your account. You want to give them the website on that, team?
Yes, I'm going to throw into the chat. It is, for anybody that's listening, it's onlinesales.wildlife.state.nm.us. And I think the easiest way to find that is to Google New Mexico Department of Game and Fish, and then click on our website, and on the very top bar, it says customer login, and it will take you to that screen so that you can log into your account and apply online.
Now, the very next presentation we're going to do in the series is walking you through that process. Now that you have your hunt codes, right? Is that next?
Almost. Tomorrow we're going to talk about hunter education because that's a really important topic. And then next Wednesday, Ross Morgan will be on to help us walk through that application process.
There you go. Tune in for all of them. You're sure to learn something, but if you're worried about using that computer for the first time, potentially, look for that Ross Morgan talk next Wednesday. So that's one way. That's going to be your fastest way. No lines, no waiting. Jump on your own account and get your application submitted that way. You can do credit card online. You can also call the same toll-free information center. Again, that's 1-888-248-6866. Those good people are there and they're ready to take credit card over the phone. Also answer all your questions. Probably 1,000% better than I can. They're really amazing folks. Kudos to our information center. That's another way you can do it.
And Jeremy, will you scroll down a couple of pages and we can look at the, I believe it's page 8, that has all of the important deadlines on it. We're getting several questions about deadlines, just so everybody can find it.
That's on page 6.
Oh, thank you. On page 6. I can't apparently read my own screen. But this is definitely listed out in there. One thing I've done is printed off this page solely and put it on my refrigerator so I can see those dates and have them reminded, or put them in my calendar on my phone. But the next upcoming deadline is on February 10th to apply for bear and turkey. And then March 17th for the big game draw. And I believe that is the date, February 15th is the date for harvest reports to go in without getting charged an additional fee. And so I know that fee is minimal, but I mean, why get charged an extra fee when you can do it for free? So log in before that February 15th and do your harvest reports before then. But make sure to keep an eye on this page because it does have some really important dates and it will be information that you will want to remember.
Yeah, those are the big 3 that Tristan just mentioned. So how long do you have? You have until March 17th for these big game applications to be submitted.
And a few other important pages at the beginning of the book. On page, let me see if I read this one right, 2 through page 5, we have some important reminders. So this is going to be where any big changes that have occurred in the last year since the last rule book came out. So again, the first one right up there at the top is that our offices are going to be closed for a while due to the COVID-19 restrictions. And so it's best to get your applications done early. And that way, if you need help, we have plenty of time to help you before the draw. But you can look at these important reminders, and these are going to be the big things that change. So make sure and take a look at those pages before you submit an application.
Yes. More than just your hunt codes. This rib gives you a ton of information. So yeah, certainly get your hunt codes out of it. You'll need those, but then also take a glance at all these other pages too. For instance, let's go to 21, 22. So here are some things that's unlawful to do. Maybe, like for instance, you can't park a motor vehicle or camp within 300 yards of any man-made water pole, water well, etc. Did you know that? So maybe just by reading this rib, you just figured that out and save yourself a citation. Check this thing out. It continues for page 21 and 22. There's even more. What does harassment mean? Super good one here on 21. Let's see. Can't discharge firearm within 150 yards of a dwelling or a building without the permission of the owner or the lessee. Very good to keep in mind. So do keep a copy of this at your desktop, PDF saved there, but maybe keep one in your glove box, keep one at your office if you're reporting to an office now, and read this on your break or something like that. There's much more to it than hunt codes. Let's see, here is on page 23, ways to game. It defines the edible portions of game animals, include all four quarters, backstraps, tenderloins, and meat. So that tells you how much meat you have to take out for these species here. And notice, for instance, bear is not on there. Just an example there. Stuff you can learn. What else do you got, Sheena?
So one of the questions that came in is going to route us back to our conversation about our three choices. And can you walk through that, or maybe together we can walk through that process and how when we run the draw system, the first two third choices are the first things that we'll pick up. And then if you're not drawing, then we look at the fourth and fifth choices. Can you walk through that process a little bit?
Yeah, just how we go about picking codes and stuff again for the folks who weren't here at the beginning.
No. So after you've applied, and when the Game and Fish Department, when we go in to run who was successful in the draw, how we go through the choices and how it determines if you're selected for first choice, second choice, third choice, or if it goes into the fourth or fifth choices.
I can try my best to find it. May not be great. No expert. One important thing to remember is that this application process is completely computer-driven. There are no human fingerprints in any stage of this at any time. So that's super important to remember. Each application is going to have a number assigned to it. So say you apply for oryx, deer, and buck ratio. Each one of those is going to have an application number. And your application number is going to be it's going to be drawn in a certain way. And after the draw, we can actually show you what that number is. And obviously, the lower that number is, the sooner out of the pool of applicants you would come. So that's good. You got lucky. And again, it's not for all of your applications together. It's each application separately. And what it's going to do is try to give you your first choice. So it's going to say our first choice was this one here for any legal weapon in 21. It's going to try to give us that. It's going to check it against how many licenses the system has already issued. And if too many licenses were already issued, if it's already met that, it's going to say, on that one, no, you didn't get that one, it's going to move to your second choice, and so on and so on. Something that I'm sure you and Ross will talk about next Wednesday is attaching applications. We can mention it here too. if you know that you want to go hunting with somebody or not at all, you can do what's called an attached application. One person will complete the application process. Let's say for elk that we just shown there for an example. And you're going to get an application and they're going to get an attached code. Given those two pieces of information, your family member, your significant other, your friend, what have you, your coworker, who you're going to go hunting with if you get going successfully by attaching applications together. You just need those two pieces of information, the application with an attached code, to mimic your application and attach them together. So now you're applying two. So that's a great thing to do if you know, like I said before, that you want to go hunting with this person or not at all. Because it does make it harder for you to draw. Now instead of being lucky and having one spot left enough, now you need you in your application line. Or more. Depends on the species, but you can attach more numbers to applications than this too, depending on the species. So now let's say if I'm applying by myself and I get down to my third choice and the system shows that there are enough licenses left that I get chosen for my third choice, I'm successful. And soon thereafter I'm going to be issued that license on that tag. But let's say there's only one spot left and it's going to check if I'm eligible for it, if I meet all the qualifications for that code, as in, I'm a resident, it's going to check and see if you're a non-resident applying for a resident, that kind of thing. Make sure that you're eligible for it, and then it's going to check and see if you have an attachment. So if there was one license left and you had an attachment buddy with you, you failed because now you have to have either together or not. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. Into details.
I hope 90% of that.
It sounded good. So when you attach an application, you will attach for that entire species. So for all of your choices, first through fifth choice, if 5 choices are available, the entire species will attach. It won't just be for one code or another. So for example, if I want to hunt with somebody who hunts archery and I don't feel comfortable hunting with archery equipment, I don't want to attach to them. I want to put in separately so I can hunt with a rifle or a muzzleloader and they can hunt with archery equipment. However, if we both feel proficient with archery equipment and we want to put in, we can do the same thing and it will be the same for both of us for that entire species. And one of the things that I've done in the past is if I wanted to hunt with somebody who did feel proficient with archery and they could put in for deer for an archery hunt for, we'll say, a mule deer, a whitetail deer, and then I put in by myself for deer. But for elk, we went ahead and shared an application and I attached an application so that we could go hunt elk with a rifle or a muzzleloader. So you can change that up by species, or if you want to hunt different species with different friends, that's an option as well.
Yeah, and that brings up another common question too, is that let's say you submitted your application online, you paid in full, and you realize that you didn't put the correct code that your buddy put. You were trying to go to the same unit together, not attached, but go to the same unit at the same time. Once that application is paid in full, you can't change it. So really make sure you talk with your hunting partners, with your family, and get all that squared away. You've got until March 17th. You've got time. It doesn't have to be tonight. Make sure that it's correct, because once it's submitted, you have to delete it, and you're going to lose a processing fee through that process. And you have to resubmit it again. Start fresh.
And so it looks like questions are slowing down. So a few that have kind of popped up. One is, if you apply early or if you wait until the draw deadline date, does that give you any extra bump in the draw, or is it even Steven?
That's a real good question. So again, this is computer generated completely random. So people have their superstitions, but mathematically it has no bearing on your success in getting drawn money. It's not a giant plastic Halloween cauldron in Santa Fe with raffle tickets in it that are stirred by hand. Absolutely not. This is this is computer-driven randomness by completely hands free. No human involvement except for hitting the run button.
Yes.
Yeah. So no, not at all.
The one thing I will say with that is that every year I get phone calls of people that waited until 4:45 to put in, and they didn't get their application submitted before the 5 p.m. deadline. This year it's 5 p.m. on March 17th, and if you don't have it completed, not just if you're working on it, it will kick you out of the system at 5 p.m. and so you don't get drawn for that tag, or you don't even get to apply for that tag. So waiting until the last minute could definitely backfire and kick you out. Last year I was at the Roundhouse during session and had a legislator come up and tell me that they were kicked out of the draw because they waited until the last minute. So it is fair across the board. So we do recommend getting it done ahead of time. And I think the biggest question that I get every year is that somebody has forgotten a password and needs help getting it reset. And if you wait till that last minute, our phone systems will be incredibly bogged down. The wait time will be extended. Last year, I believe we were over an hour of wait time. And so there's just no way for us to help everyone in that process. So waiting until the last minute can completely backfire, especially this year with a lot of us telecommuting for COVID restrictions.
Yeah, and if you've forgotten your password or your login information, give us a call at those two numbers again. The toll-free number, we'll give it. Right here at the top of my cursor is 1-888-248-6866, or call one of our area offices. And those are back to them right here early on in the book. Which one? There you go. That's a 5-minute process. We can do it by phone. We can change your password. We can reset it. Super easy. If you've never applied, or it's been quite a few years since you've applied, and your account may be wiped from the system, you can create your new one too. Super easy. Easy. Back to that wait until the last minute point, which is a good one. Our phone lines are slammed on that final page. So if you think you might need help, but one point about waiting until later on in the draw, not last minute, but waiting later on in the draw is those funds are removed from your bank account for less time. I know some people who went to apply because for that reason.
Absolutely. So a couple of questions just are coming in, so I wanted to reiterate some of the stuff we said at the beginning. So the regulation, the rules and information booklet, as we call it internally, we call it the RID. It was formerly known as the PROC or proclamation. It is on the website. It is also at the printer and will be available in stores. We don't expect that to happen until the end of January. So go ahead if you want to get started now. Look at it online. Print off some extra copies if you would like to have some printed copies. And then towards the end of January, early February, you can pick those up in stores across the state. So don't wait till the last minute on that one. It is available online. The draw is scheduled to open tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. And it will close for big game species at 5 p.m. sharp on March 17th. So you have over 60 days to apply for your tag. So I know that everybody says that New Mexico is the land of manana, but you can give it a few mananas, but just don't give it more than about 64 mananas, because then you'll get kicked out of the draw. You won't be able to apply at all. So get those in sooner rather than later. And we'll get those out there. Looks like you have the possession certificate, which is a very important piece of information for people to have.
Yeah, this is something else. When I talk about when being more than just hunt codes, this is a prime example right here. We give you an example of a possession certificate. You don't just have to use this one. It's not official. It just tells you all the information that you need. You could handwrite all this on a piece of paper and it would be just about. But what a lot of people don't know is that if you're going to say, maybe you're going to give your turkey feathers to some native peoples for craft purposes, you're going to donate it to them. You need to give them this possession certificate. It shows that you were a valid license holder. You're going to give it to them on this date. You're going to describe it in detail what it was, for the purpose of, and they need to keep this in possession. It's unlawful to do that without this information. Again, you don't have to have this exact piece of paper, but you do have to have this information. Something a lot of people don't know. So give the rib a look after you found your hunt codes and kind of war roomed it with your buddies about when and where you're going to go. Give it a flip. There's more into than just hunt codes. That should be the subtitle of tonight's presentation is the rib, more than just hunt codes.
All right. So just to remind everybody, we will be doing, I believe there's 14 different webinars and Facebook Lives that we're going to be trying to do over the next 60 days, over the next month and a half before the draw deadline. And we are going to talk about how to read the draw odds reports, because sometimes that can help increase your likelihood of getting drawn if you just want to put meat in the freezer or for more information. But make sure and check out those future webinars that we have. We will also be having all of our big game biologists join us for an evening. So if you have questions about elk, deer, pronghorn, bear, turkey, tune into those sessions and let us know. You can always email me your questions ahead of time, and we will work on getting those prepared for you for when our biologists are on later in this process. Like I said, tomorrow we'll have Jennifer Morgan. She's the Hunter Education Coordinator for the department on to talk about opportunities for hunter education and then recent changes that were made to the Hunter Mentor program and how to use those changes to your benefit. And then next Wednesday, we'll have Ross Morgan on to talk about putting in, and we're actually going to go through the entire process. Tonight we kind of looked at how to read the hunt codes, but we're going to actually put in for a draw and answer questions about the online licensing system. So those are definitely ones for everyone to put in. And Jeremy, one quick question just popped up. If you want to put your son or daughter in for the same hunts, can you do that?
The same hunts as you?
Correct. Yeah, same hunts as you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Everyone in your family could apply for the exact same hunt codes if you want. And you could also use, depending on the species that you're applying for, you can also use that attachment option. So yeah, I mean, family of four or a son and a daughter would be no problem. A couple options there. You can all apply for the exact same codes and hope for the best, or if you know again that you want to go together or not at all, then attaching is perfect.
Awesome. Well,
I've got just two more things to talk about. A lot of the time you might be going through those hunt codes and you'll forget what MB, A, and ES stands for. Again, that's maturable implicit feature sex. But if you come across something like that, turn to your handy dandy glossary here, show them up on the screen. Everything is defined there. How we're going to describe a mature bull and what that means. Okay, it's a mature bull. I know that's a male. It wasn't me. One brown type standing 6 or more inches from the main beam, or at least 1 4 inches, 6 or more inches. There you go. Legal terminology. And then there was one other thing. Very common question that I get is such and such caliber legal for such and such species? So at the beginning of each species section, here I'm trying to find the start of the elk. It will tell you legal weapon types. If I can find it. Alrighty. Anyway, right before it gets into the hunt codes, maybe I'm not going to be able to find it when I'm under pressure, but it's in there. In each animal, each species section, right before it gets into the hunt codes, I look for keywords like lethal weapon. It'll tell you caliber and magazine restrictions and all if there are any, right there. It's a very common question. I think that's all I have.
Awesome. Well, I know that everybody still has several questions, so make sure and take this information and digest it. Again, you can reach out to us on the 1-800 number, and if those are extended wait times, reach out to us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, and we can answer some questions there as well. So we want to thank everybody for joining us both on the Facebook live feed and here in Zoom. I appreciate you guys giving us time on your Wednesday evening. And we look forward to having everybody put in for the drop. Best of luck to everyone, unless you're putting in for the same hunt codes I am, and then I guess I still wish you good luck. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. Jeremy, thank you for your time tonight as well.
My pleasure, anytime.